3 police cars, 1 innocent woman, 0 legal grounds. When Maya Reeves answered her door that June night, she had no idea she was walking into a trap that would expose an entire department's corruption. But here's the twist they never saw coming: she wasn't who they thought she was. And by the time they realized their mistake, it was already too late. Before we dive in, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. And comment below with your city. I want to see how far this message travels across our great nation. Now let's begin. You're the 5th. Mrs. Chen's voice shook as she spoke through the crack in her door. Her eyes darted toward the 3 police cruisers still sitting at the curb, still watching. 5th what? Maya asked. 5th black homeowner on this street. The others all left? The Johnsons, the Washingtons, the Harrises, the Thompsons, all gone. You need to leave too, honey, before it gets worse. Maya's hands were trembling, not from fear, from something else, something that had been building inside her for 43 years. What happened to them? Mrs. Chen glanced behind her, whispered lower. The police. They kept coming, every week, sometimes twice a week. Noise complaints, dog complaints, parking, always something, always fake. The families tried to fight it, but you can't fight the police. Not here, not when Volkov's brother-in-law runs the department. Volkov. 3 houses down, gray house, black shutters. He's the one who calls them every time. Maya thanked her, went back inside, locked the door, then she called her sister. Denise, they came tonight. Who came? Police, 3 of them, said I had a noise complaint. Silence on the other end. Then, Maya, no. I was reading a book, alone, in silence, at 8:47 on a Tuesday night. Get out, right now, tonight. I'll drive up and help you pack. I'm not leaving. Maya, listen to me. Remember what happened to Aunt Gloria. Remember what happened when she tried to stay in that neighborhood in Atlanta? They made her life hell. She had a heart attack from the stress. She was only 56. Maya's throat tightened. She did remember. Aunt Gloria had died in that house. Alone. Scared. The police had been there that morning, too. Another fake complaint. This is different. How is this different? Maya couldn't tell her. Not yet. Not until it was over. I just need you to trust me. Can you do that? Denise was crying now. Maya could hear it. I can't lose you too. You're all I have left. You won't lose me, I promise. But after she hung up, Maya sat in her kitchen and wondered if that was a promise she could keep. Let's back up to the moment everything started. 20 minutes earlier, Maya had been on her sofa. Chamomile tea, James Baldwin, the ceiling fan humming overhead. She'd just gotten to the part about fire next time when the knock came. Sharp, hard, demanding. She set the book down, walked to the door, looked through the peephole. 3 white officers, young, armed, confident. She opened the door halfway. Evening. The sergeant in front badge said Harkins smiled. It wasn't friendly. Ma'am, we received a noise complaint about this address. Maya looked past him. The street was dead quiet. Mrs. Chen's TV flickering. The Rodriguez family's porch light on. No music, no voices, nothing. A noise complaint? That's correct. At 8:47 on a Tuesday. Yes, ma'am. Officer, the noise ordinance doesn't start until 10 p.m. Even if there was noise, which there isn't, you have no legal reason to be here. Harkin's smile vanished. Ma'am, are you refusing to cooperate? I'm telling you the law. There's a difference. One of the other officers, Quinn, shifted his weight, looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, we're just doing our job. Then do it correctly. Check your facts. Verify your complaints. Don't show up at people's homes without cause. You new to this neighborhood? Harkin asked. Is that relevant? Just wondering. Most people here are more cooperative. The word hung in the air. Cooperative. Translation, most people here don't talk back. Have a good evening, officers. Maya closed the door. Locked it. Deadbolt. Chain. Through the peephole, she watched them. They didn't leave. They stood there, talking, laughing. Then they walked to their cars. Sat there. Engines running. Waiting. 10 minutes. Headlights pointing at her house like accusations. Then Mrs. Chen knocked on the back door. That's when Maya learned about the pattern. The Johnsons. 6 months. Constant police visits. Sold at a loss. The Washingtons. 8 months. Their son developed anxiety. Couldn't sleep when he heard sirens. The Harrises. 10 months. Someone slashed their tires. Police did nothing. The Thompsons. 14 months. Their daughter got pulled over 5 times. Never ticketed. Just questioned. Just reminded she didn't belong. They want this street to stay white, Mrs. Chen said. Volkov makes sure of it. He's got connections. His brother-in-law is Lieutenant Marcus Volkov, runs the department. Which house is his? Please don't make trouble. Please, I'm begging you. Just sell. Leave quietly. It's not worth it. But Maya knew something Mrs. Chen didn't. Something the officers didn't know. Something Volkov and his brother-in-law had no idea about. Maya Reeves wasn't just another black woman who bought a house in the wrong neighborhood. Maya Reeves was internal affairs. 12 years with the state police, specializing in corruption, harassment, abuse of power. She'd been investigating the Maplewood department for 6 months before she even moved to this street. The state had gotten complaints. Patterns of harassment, civil rights violations, but no proof, no evidence, no one willing to testify. So Maya volunteered. She'd buy a house on Maple Street, see if the pattern continued, document everything. It was supposed to be a 3-month assignment. It took 3 days for the first complaint. But that night after Mrs. Chen left, Maya didn't feel like an investigator. She felt like every other black woman who'd ever been told she didn't belong. She opened her laptop, started a spreadsheet. Date, time, officers, complaint type, outcome. Row 1 on June 14th. 8:47 p.m. Harkin Quinn Rodriguez. Noise complaint. False. No citation. It was going to be a long spreadsheet. 4 days later, they came back. Saturday afternoon. Maya was in her front garden. Weeding, tomato plants, marigolds. She liked gardening, liked making things grow. A squad car pulled up. 2 officers got out. Rodriguez and Chen. Different Chen. No relation to her neighbor. Ma'am, we got a complaint about a dangerous dog on this property. Maya sat back on her heels, pulled off her gloves. I don't own a dog. Rodriguez blinked. Ma'am, no dog, no cat, no pets. You want to check the house, the yard, go ahead. Chen pulled out his phone, checked the complaint. His face changed. The report says a large black dog, pit bull type, aggressive toward neighbors. Not true, just like the noise complaint wasn't true, just like whatever comes next won't be true either. Ma'am, we have to respond to all complaints. Even when you know they're fake, even when the same person keeps calling, even when you've been here before and found nothing. Rodriguez looked away. Badge numbers, please. What? I'm documenting this. Date, time, your badge numbers, the false complaint. When I file my report, I want everything accurate. They gave her the numbers, left fast. Maya added row 2 to her spreadsheet. 2 days later, parking complaint. Her car was supposedly blocking someone's driveway. It wasn't. It was in her own driveway. 4 days after that trespassing complaint. Maya was supposedly on the Volkov property. She had time-stamped work emails proving she was home. 1 week later, loitering complaint. 2 days after that, another noise complaint. Then another dog complaint. Each time, different officers. Same script. Same lies. And each time, Maya documented everything. But she needed more than documentation. She needed proof. So she installed cameras. One in the birdhouse on the front porch. One at the back door. One pointing at the street. That's how she caught Volkov. Wednesday morning. Early. Maya was making coffee when she heard voices. She checked her phone. The camera feed showed Volkov on the sidewalk, talking to a police officer in uniform. Lieutenant Marcus Volkov, the brother-in-law. Maya turned up the volume. Every few days. Keep the pressure steady. She'll crack. They always do. Mark, I don't know. If she files an official complaint, she won't. And if she does, it disappears. I'll handle it. This neighborhood has standards. Good families. We don't need her kind bringing down property values. Her kind. You know what I mean. Just keep sending units. Any excuse. Make her uncomfortable. Make her want to leave. Maya saved the video, backed it up, encrypted it, sent a copy to her supervisor at Internal Affairs. But she didn't move yet. Didn't file charges. Didn't reveal anything. Because if 12 years investigating corrupt cops had taught her anything, it was this wait for the full picture. So she waited, and documented, and recorded. Then things got worse. Someone spray-painted a slur on her garage door. She called the police. They took a report. Never followed up. Her mailbox was smashed. Twice. She called again. Same officers, same report, same nothing. A brick through her front window, glass everywhere. She had to board it up herself because the police said they couldn't do anything without witnesses. Anonymous letters started arriving, typed, threatening. We know how to get rid of people like you. Leave while you still can. This neighborhood doesn't want you here." Maya kept every letter, photographed every incident, added every detail to her growing file, and she started noticing something: the timing. Every time something good happened, every time a neighbor waved back, every time Mrs. Chen brought over dumplings and they sat on the porch like friends, every time the Rodriguez kids played in her yard, another complaint would come the next day. It was strategic, calculated, cruel. Volkov was smart, but Maya was smarter, because while he was orchestrating harassment, she was building a federal case. Civil rights violations, deprivation of rights under color of law, conspiracy to violate housing rights based on race. Every officer who responded to a fake complaint knowing it was fake complicit. Every supervisor who ignored the pattern complicit. Every dispatcher who forwarded the calls without question complicit. The whole system was rotten, and Maya had the evidence to prove it. But evidence wasn't enough. She needed to let them incriminate themselves completely, needed to let them think they were winning. So when her tires got slashed all 4 professional jobs, she called the police. Harkin showed up. "Any enemies, Ms. Reeves?" Maya just looked at him. He cleared his throat. "We'll file a report." "Will you investigate, or will this report disappear like all the others?" "Ma'am, I don't appreciate 16 fake complaints in 8 weeks, multiple acts of vandalism, threatening letters, 0 follow-up, 0 investigation, 0 arrests. Should I continue, Sergeant Harkin?" His face went red. "If you're not satisfied, file a complaint with the department." "With Lieutenant Volkov's department, the same lieutenant whose brother-in-law is behind all of this." The color drained from his face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do. You all do. Every officer who's come here knows exactly what's happening. You're not stupid. You're just complicit." "Ma'am, you need to calm down." "I am calm. I'm also documented. Every complaint, every officer, every lie, badge numbers, body cam footage, everything. All going into a file that gets bigger every day." Harkin stepped closer, trying to intimidate her. "Are you threatening a police officer?" "I'm informing you that your actions are being recorded. If that feels like a threat, maybe you should ask yourself why." He left. Didn't write anything down. That evening, Maya called Denise again. "It's getting bad." "Then leave. Please, Maya, please." "I can't." "Why? Why can't you?" "Because if I leave, the next family faces this, and the next, and the next. Someone has to stop it." "Why does it have to be you?" Maya didn't have an answer for that. Or maybe she did. Maybe it had to be her because she had the training, the resources, the badge. Maybe it had to be her because she'd sworn an oath to protect people. All people. Even especially the ones no one else would protect. "I love you, Denise." "Don't say it like that. Don't say it like goodbye." "I'm not. I'm saying it because you need to hear it." After she hung up, Maya went to her bathroom, locked the door, sat on the floor, and cried. For Aunt Gloria, for the Johnsons and the Washingtons and the Harrises and the Thompsons, for every black family who'd been driven out of their homes by people who thought badges made them gods. She cried for 5 minutes. Then she washed her face, fixed her hair, went back to her living room, because crying didn't change anything. Action did. The next day, Mrs. Chen knocked again. "They're talking about you at the neighborhood association meeting. Volkov is spreading rumors, says you're dealing drugs, says you're running illegal businesses, says the police are investigating you for serious crimes." "None of that is true. I know, but people are believing it. The Mitchells won't talk to me anymore because I'm your friend. The Petersons crossed the street when they saw me coming out of your house. I'm sorry, Maya. I'm so sorry. I tried to defend you, but..." Maya hugged her, this tiny, brave woman who risked her own safety to warn a neighbor. "It's going to be okay, I promise." How? They're too powerful. Not for much longer. Because that morning, Maya had received the call she'd been waiting for. Her supervisor at Internal Affairs. The investigation was official. Federal oversight approved. Department of Justice reviewing the case. Everything Maya had documented was now part of an active federal investigation, but she couldn't tell anyone. The investigation had to stay quiet. Had to let the targets keep digging their own graves. So when the next complaint came, noise violation at 7 p.m., Maya answered the door with the same calm she always showed. "Officer Quinn." Again. He looked sick, exhausted. "Ms. Reeves?" "Officer Quinn?" "I have to, there's a complaint." "I know, noise, 7 p.m. before the ordinance, false complaint, just like all the others." He wouldn't meet her eyes. "Quinn?" Her voice was softer now. "You don't have to keep doing this. You know it's wrong." "I have orders." Illegal orders. You know that. You're a good cop. I can see it. You're sick about this, but you keep coming anyway. Why? I have a family, 3 kids. I need this job. You'll lose it anyway when this comes out, and it will come out. The only question is whether you're charged as a participant or protected as a witness. One of those options destroys your life. The other saves it. Choose wisely. Quinn's hands were shaking. What are you saying? I'm saying when the time comes, and it's coming soon, you'll have a choice. Make the right one. He left without writing any report. 3 days later, everything came to a head. Friday night, 10:15. Maya was reading. Toni Morrison now, finished with Baldwin. The knock was different this time. Loud, aggressive, multiple fists. She looked through the peephole. 6 officers. SWAT gear, hands on weapons. Harkin was in front, smiling, triumphant. Maya's heart was pounding, but she opened the door. Ma'am, we received a report of a domestic disturbance, screaming, violence, we need to enter your home. There's no domestic disturbance. I live alone. I've been alone all evening. You can check my phone records, my work calls, my security footage. There's no one here but me. Step aside, ma'am. On what grounds you have no warrant? You have no probable cause. You have a fake report from the same source that's been filing fake reports for 3 months. Ma'am, we're coming in. Under federal law, every officer standing here is committing a felony right now. Civil rights violations, conspiracy, deprivation of rights. You can all be sued personally. You can all be criminally charged. You can all lose your jobs, your pensions, your freedom. Is that really what you want? The officers hesitated, looked at each other, looked at Harkin. She's bluffing, Harkin said. Am I? Did you really think I wouldn't notice? Did you think I was just another scared black woman you could run out of town? Who the hell are you? Maya pulled out her badge. She'd kept it hidden for 3 months. Now was the time. Internal Affairs, State Police, 12 years. The silence was absolute. Every single one of you just walked into a federal investigation, every false complaint, every intimidation tactic, every conversation with Lieutenant Volkov, all recorded, all documented, all currently being reviewed by federal prosecutors. Harkin's face went white. Quinn looked like he might pass out. The others started backing away. You can't, I already have. Federal prosecutors got the complete file 2 hours ago. Department of Justice oversight is in place. By Monday, you're all suspended. By the end of the month, most of you will be arrested. This is entrapment. Entrapment requires me to trick you into committing crimes. I never asked you to file false complaints. Never asked you to harass me. Never asked you to violate my rights. You did all that yourselves. Eagerly, repeatedly. That's not entrapment. That's a confession. She stepped back, started to close the door. Now get off my property. Don't come back unless you have a warrant signed by a federal judge, which you won't, because the only criminals on this street are you. They scattered, ran to their cars, drove away fast. Maya closed the door, locked it, walked to her kitchen, poured a glass of wine, sat at her table. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the glass, because she'd been terrified the whole time. Every knock could have turned violent. Every confrontation could have been her last. But she'd done it anyway. Someone had to. The pattern had to break. Outside Maple Street was quiet. Mrs. Chen's TV flickered. The Rodriguez kids' bikes lay on the lawn. Porch lights glowed. Everything looked normal. But everything had changed. The hunters were now the hunted. And somewhere 3 houses down in a gray house with black shutters, Volkov was probably getting a phone call that would change his life forever. Maya sipped her wine, picked up her book, and for the first time in 3 months, she smiled, because the war wasn't over, but the first battle was won, and Maya Reeves never lost a war. That night, Maya didn't sleep. She sat at her kitchen table watching her phone, waiting for the call she knew was coming. It came at 2:17 a.m., unknown number. She answered. You made a mistake. The voice was male, angry, scared. A big mistake. Sa, who is this girl? You know who this is. You think that badge protects you. You think internal affairs makes you untouchable. You're in my town now, my jurisdiction. You have no idea what you just started. Lieutenant Marcus Volkov. Had to be. I started this 3 months ago when I moved here. You're just now realizing it. You set us up. You entrapped my men. Your men harassed a homeowner based on race, repeatedly, with your full knowledge and support. That's not entrapment. That's corruption. Silence on the line, then no one will believe you. Federal prosecutors already do. Department of Justice already does. Want to keep talking because this call is being recorded too. He hung up. Maya set the phone down. Her hands were steady now. The shaking had stopped hours ago. Now she just felt tired. The kind of tired that comes from carrying weight no one else can see. She walked to her bedroom, looked at herself in the mirror. Same face she'd had yesterday. Same eyes. Same skin that made some people see a threat instead of a neighbor. But something had shifted. She'd stopped hiding, stopped pretending, stopped letting them make her feel like the problem. Her phone buzzed. Text from Denise. "I'm coming up, leaving in an hour. Don't argue." Maya typed back, "It's 2 a.m. I don't care. I'll be there by dawn. Make coffee." Maya smiled. First real smile in months. Her sister was stubborn. Always had been. When they were kids, Denise had beaten up a boy twice her size for calling Maya a name. Got suspended for 3 days. Never regretted it once. "Drive safe." "Always do. Love you." "Love you too." Maya went to the kitchen, started preparing the guest room, changed the sheets, set out fresh towels, made sure there was cream in the fridge because Denise couldn't drink coffee black. At 5:37, headlights turned into her driveway. Denise got out of her car looking exactly like Maya expected. Furious. Worried. Ready to fight the world. They hugged on the porch. Denise held on tight. "You look terrible," Denise said. "Thanks. You look great too." "I'm serious. When's the last time you ate a real meal, your skin and bones?" "I've been busy." "Yeah, busy getting yourself killed." Denise followed her inside, looked around. "They really spray painted your garage. It's been painted over. And the window fixed. And the tires replaced." Denise sat down hard at the kitchen table. "Maya, what are you doing? Why are you still here?" "My job." "This isn't a job. This is suicide. You could have investigated from anywhere. You didn't have to actually move here. You didn't have to make yourself the target." Maya poured 2 cups of coffee, slid one across to her sister. "Yes, I did. Because without a target, they have no reason to act. Without evidence of ongoing harassment, we have no case. I had to make them think they could get away with it. And if they'd done more than slash your tires, what if one of those cops had decided to do something worse? What if Volkov had sent someone who didn't wear a badge? I had backup, surveillance, other agents watching. Watching isn't the same as protecting, you know that. You were alone here, every night. Every knock on that door could have been..." Denise's voice broke. "I can't lose you, not like Aunt Gloria, not like that." Maya reached across the table, held her sister's hand. "You won't, I promise." "You promised that last time too, and now look, federal case, death threats. You really think they're just going to accept this? You really think Volkov's going to go quietly?" "I don't care if he goes quietly or not, he's going. They all are." Denise wiped her eyes. "You're the bravest person I know, also the most stubborn, also the biggest pain in my ass." "I learned from the best." They drank their coffee, watched the sun rise through the kitchen window. Neither of them mentioned the squad car that drove past the house 3 times in 30 minutes, or the gray sedan that parked across the street for 20 minutes before driving away. At 8 a.m., Maya's phone rang. Her supervisor, Director Patricia Chen, no relation to the neighbors or the officer, just an unfortunate coincidence. "Maya, status report." "Badge revealed. Suspects know they're under investigation. Volkov called me at 2 a.m. with what I'm interpreting as a threat." "Recorded." "Of course." "Good. How are you holding up?" Maya glanced at Denise. Her sister was pretending not to listen while obviously listening to every word. "I'm fine." "That's not what I asked. I asked how you're holding up." "Director." "Patricia, after 3 months of living through hell for this case, you can call me Patricia. Are you safe?" "My sister just arrived. I have backup." "That's not backup. That's family. I'm sending 2 agents to your location. They'll maintain distance, but they'll be close if anything happens." "That's not necessary." "It's not a request. You did your job. You got the evidence. Now let us do ours. Federal prosecutors are filing charges today. DOJ is taking over the investigation. By noon, warrants will be issued. By tonight, Harkin Quinn and 4 others will be in custody." Maya felt something loosen in her chest. Relief, exhaustion, both. What about Lieutenant Volkov? Him too. Federal charges, civil rights violations, conspiracy, abuse of power. He's looking at 10 to 15 if convicted. And his brother, the civilian, Eugene Volkov. We're building the case. Multiple families are willing to testify now. The Johnsons, the Washingtons, the Harrises. They all kept records. They all have stories. Your case opened the door. Now they're walking through it. After the call ended, Maya told Denise everything. Every detail. Every threat. Every moment she'd been scared. "Why didn't you tell me before?" Denise asked. "Because you would have tried to stop me." "Damn right I would have. That's why." Denise shook her head. "You're impossible, but I'm proud of you. Terrified, but proud." At 9:43, Mrs. Chen knocked on the back door. She had a covered dish. Dumplings, still warm. "I heard shouting last night. From the Volkov house. Lots of shouting. Then cars leaving very fast. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine, Mrs. Chen. Better than fine." The elderly woman smiled. "You did it, didn't you? You stopped them." "I had help. From you, from your warnings, from your courage. All I did was talk." "That's not all you did. You risked your safety to warn me. You kept being my friend when everyone else turned away. That's not small. That's everything." Mrs. Chen's eyes filled with tears. "The Johnsons were good people. So were the Washingtons. They didn't deserve what happened to them." "No one does. That's why we're stopping it." After Mrs. Chen left, Denise sat on the couch. "She's going to be okay after this comes out when people know she helped you." "She will be. We'll make sure of it." But Maya was worried about that too. Mrs. Chen was elderly, vulnerable. If the community turned against her, if Volkov's friends came after her... Her phone rang again. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, then decided she wanted to know who was calling now that the investigation was public. "Ms. Reeves, this is Officer Quinn." Maya put the phone on speaker, gestured for Denise to stay quiet. "Officer Quinn? I need to talk to you, not on the phone, in person. Can we meet? Why? Because I'm ready to testify about everything, about all of it, but I need protection for me and my family. Volkov knows I was the weak link. He's already called me twice, threatened to kill my career, threatened worse if I talk." "Where are you now?" "Sitting in my car 3 blocks from your house. I didn't want to come to your door, didn't want anyone to see." "Drive to the coffee shop on Main Street, the one by the library. I'll meet you there in 20 minutes. Thank you so much." Maya hung up, looked at Denise. "I'm coming with you," Denise said. "No?" "Yes, you're not going alone. And before you argue, remember who's older, and therefore wiser, and therefore in charge." "You're older by 11 months. Still counts. Get your keys." They drove separately. Denise insisted, said if something happened, she wanted her own car as an escape route. Maya didn't argue. Her sister had a point. Quinn was waiting in a back booth. He looked worse than Maya had ever seen him. Dark circles under his eyes, hands shaking around his coffee cup, uniform wrinkled like he'd slept in it. "Thank you for meeting me," he said. Maya slid into the booth across from him. Denise sat next to her sister, silent, watching. "Tell me what you know?" Quinn took a breath. "Everything. I know everything. Volkov started this 2 years ago, after the Johnsons moved in. He freaked out, said the neighborhood was changing, said property values would drop, said we had to maintain standards. We meaning the police, meaning anyone who'd listen, but mostly the police. His brother's the lieutenant. Marcus runs patrol. Between them, they control every cop on the street. If you don't play along, you get the worst shifts, the worst assignments. Your evaluations suffer. Your career stalls. So you played along." Quinn's face crumpled. "I have 3 kids. My wife doesn't work because our youngest has special needs. I can't lose this job. I can't afford to lose this job, so I kept my mouth shut. Kept responding to those fake calls. Kept pretending I didn't know what was happening." "Even when you saw families being driven out of their homes?" I know it was wrong. I knew it then, but I didn't know how to stop it, how to fight an entire department, an entire system." Maya leaned forward. "You're fighting it now. Because you gave me a way out. You documented everything. You built the case. All I have to do is tell the truth." "That's all you ever had to do." Quinn wiped his eyes. "Harkin's panicking. He called me last night, said we need to coordinate our stories, said we need to claim you entrapped us, that you provoked the complaints somehow." "Did you agree?" "I said I'd think about it. Then I blocked his number. Then I called my wife and told her everything. She cried for 2 hours. Then she told me to do the right thing even if it cost us everything." "It won't cost you everything. You'll testify. You'll tell the truth. Federal prosecutors will protect you. You'll probably lose your job, but you'll keep your freedom, your family, your dignity." "What about Volkov?" "He's connected. He's got friends in places I don't even know about. He's also got federal charges coming. By tonight, he'll be in custody. He won't be able to hurt you." Quinn nodded, still looked terrified, but determined. "What do I do now?" "Contact this number." Maya slid a card across the table. "Assistant U.S. Attorney Williams, tell him everything you told me. He'll handle the rest." After Quinn left, Denise exhaled slowly. "He's going to be okay." "I think so. He's scared enough to be honest. That's usually a good sign." "And if Volkov gets to him first?" "He won't. Williams will have Quinn in protective custody by this afternoon." They drove back to the house. The gray sedan was parked across the street again. Different car this time. Federal agents. Maya recognized the type. She nodded slightly. They didn't respond. Professionals. At noon, Maya's phone exploded with calls. News outlets, local reporters, everyone wanted a statement. She declined them all. Let the federal prosecutors do the talking. At 1:15, the first news alert popped up. 6 Maplewood police officers arrested in federal civil rights investigation. At 1:30, another alert. Lieutenant Marcus Volkov charged with conspiracy civil rights violations. At 2 o'clock, her phone rang again. A different number. A voice she didn't recognize. "Ms. Reeves? This is Jennifer Johnson. You don't know me, but I used to live on Maple Street. Number 1251? We were the first black family. We left 6 months after we moved in because we couldn't take the harassment anymore." Maya sat down. "Mrs. Johnson, I'm so sorry for what happened to you." "Don't apologize. You stopped them. You did what we couldn't. The prosecutors called me this morning, asked if I'd testify. I said yes. My husband said yes. Our kids said yes. We want to make sure this never happens to anyone else." "Thank you. Your testimony will matter. It will make the difference. I heard you lived through 3 months of what we went through. I heard they did to you what they did to us. Except you fought back. Someone had to. My son still has nightmares. He's 9 years old and he's scared of police officers because of what they did to him, to our family. I want those men to pay for that. I want them to understand what they took from us." They talked for 20 minutes. Mrs. Johnson told her everything. Every fake complaint, every threat, every time her children cried because police cars sat outside their house for hours. Every time her husband couldn't sleep because he was afraid someone would hurt their family. After the call, Maya told Denise what she'd heard. "That could have been you," Denise said. "If you weren't internal affairs, if you didn't have backup, that could have been your life." "That was my life. For 3 months, that was exactly my life." "But you knew it would end." "They didn't. They thought it would never stop. That's worse." At 4 p.m., Mrs. Chen knocked again. This time she wasn't alone. She had 3 other neighbors with her. The Rodriguez family, the elderly couple from 2 houses down, a young woman Maya had never met. "We want to help," Mrs. Chen said. "We all saw things. We all knew something was wrong. We didn't speak up before. We want to now." Maya invited them in. They crowded into her living room. Denise made tea. Everyone talked at once. Mr. Rodriguez spoke first. "I saw Volkov talking to police officers in his driveway, multiple times. I heard him mention your address. I should have said something then." The elderly man nodded. "I saw someone spray paint your garage. It was late, dark. I couldn't see his face, but the car was gray. Same car Volkov's nephew drives." The young woman twisted her hands together. "I work at the dispatcher's office. I shouldn't say this, but I heard conversations about routing certain calls to certain officers about making sure your complaints got buried." Maya wrote everything down. Names, dates, details, more evidence, more proof that this wasn't random, wasn't isolated, was systematic, intentional, evil. At 6 p.m., Maya's supervisor called again. "All 6 officers in custody. Volkov's in custody. His brother Eugene is being picked up as we speak. Federal prosecutors are moving fast. They want this case locked down before anyone can interfere." "Good. Maya, you need to know something. There are threats. Against you. Against the witnesses. Some of Volkov's friends are making noise. We're taking it seriously." "How seriously?" "Around-the-clock protection seriously. The agents outside your house aren't leaving, and we're moving you to a safe house until the trial." "No." "Maya. No, I bought this house. I fought for this house. I'm not leaving. If I leave, they win. If I leave, the next person they target knows running is the only option." "You're being stubborn." "I'm being right. Put more agents outside. Install better security. Do whatever you need to do, but I'm staying in my home." After she hung up, Denise looked at her. "You sure about this?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." That night, 3 more families called. Former residents of Maple Street. all willing to testify, all with stories that matched Maya's, all ready to face their harassers in court. At 9 p.m., Maya stood on her porch, looked up and down the street. The house 3 doors down, Don Volkov's house was dark, empty, police tape across the door. Mrs. Chen's light was on. The Rodriguez family was eating dinner on their porch. The elderly couple was walking their dog. Normal, peaceful, safe. This is what it should have been all along. Her phone buzzed. Text from Quinn. In protective custody, meeting with prosecutors tomorrow. Thank you for giving me a way out. I won't waste it. Maya texted back. Tell the truth. That's all you need to do. She went inside. Denise was on the couch watching the news. Coverage of the arrests. Photos of Harkin and Volkov being led into federal court. They look scared, Denise said. Good. They should be. They did something unforgivable. They deserve to be scared. You think they'll get convicted? I know they will. The evidence is overwhelming. The witnesses are credible. The pattern is undeniable. Federal prosecutors don't lose cases like this. Denise changed the channel, found a cooking show, something light, easy, normal. How long are you staying? Maya asked. As long as you need me. I'm okay. I know you're okay, but I'm staying anyway, because that's what sisters do. They watched TV until midnight. Then Denise went to bed. Maya stayed up, couldn't sleep, too much adrenaline, too many thoughts. She walked through her house, looked at every room. This place had been a battlefield for 3 months. Every corner held a memory, every door a confrontation, but it was hers. She'd paid for it, fought for it, bled for it in ways that didn't show on the surface, and she'd won. Not just for herself, for the Johnsons and the Washingtons and the Harrises and the Thompsons, for Mrs. Chen and the Rodriguez family and every neighbor who'd been too scared to speak up, for every black family who'd ever been told they didn't belong in their own home. She'd won for all of them. At 1 a.m., she finally went to bed, lay in the dark, listened to the house settle around her. No police cars outside, no threats in her mailbox, no bricks through her windows, just peace. Finally, peace. But she knew it wasn't over. The trial would come. The defense would fight back. Volkov would hire expensive lawyers. The system would try to protect its own. Let them try. Maya had truth on her side. Evidence. Witnesses. Justice. And that was more powerful than any corrupt cop, any racist neighbor, any broken system. She closed her eyes, smiled in the darkness. Tomorrow the real work would begin. But tonight she could rest. She'd earned it. The peace lasted exactly 4 days. On the 5th morning, Maya woke up to her front door covered in red paint. Thick, dripping, made to look like blood. Denise saw it first, screamed, woke up the whole neighborhood. Maya stood on her porch in her robe looking at the mess. The federal agents across the street were already on their radios. Mrs. Chen came running. The Rodriguez family stood on their lawn staring. They did this while we were sleeping, Denise said. Her voice was shaking. While we were right here, 10 feet away. Maya's phone rang. Her supervisor. We saw it on the surveillance feed. Happened at 3:42 a.m. 2 men, masks, gloves. They knew where the cameras were, avoided them perfectly. Professionals. Or people who know how law enforcement works. We're pulling traffic cams from the area, running analysis. But Maya, this changes things. You need to leave that house. No. This isn't a request anymore. Someone escalated. Someone's willing to risk federal charges to intimidate you. That means they're desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. Let them try. I'm not running. She hung up. Denise grabbed her arm. Are you insane? They know where we sleep. They got past federal agents. They're sending a message. I know what message they're sending. I'm sending one back. I'm not leaving. By noon, the story was everywhere. News vans lined the street. Reporters shouting questions. Cameras recording everything. Maya stayed inside, refused all interviews. Let the images speak for themselves. At 2 p.m., her doorbell rang. She checked the camera feed. A woman in her 50s, well-dressed, carrying a briefcase. Maya opened the door. Can I help you? Ms. Reeves, I'm Ellen Martinez. I'm an attorney. I represent Lieutenant Marcus Volkov. Then you should leave. I have nothing to say to you. Please, just 5 minutes. I think you'll want to hear this. Against her better judgment, Maya let her in. Denise stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching. Martinez sat on the edge of the couch, opened her briefcase, pulled out documents. My client is willing to make a deal, drop the charges, walk away. In return, he'll pay you $2 million, tax-free. Plus, he'll personally ensure no one bothers you again. Maya laughed, actually laughed. You're joking. I'm completely serious. $2 million. You can move anywhere. Start fresh. Never worry about money again. Your client harassed multiple families, violated civil rights, conspired with law enforcement to run black people out of their homes. And you think $2 million makes that go away? I think $2 million gives you options. Safety, peace of mind. Know what would give me peace of mind? Your client in prison where he belongs. Martinez's expression hardened. Ms. Reeves, you need to understand something. Lieutenant Volkov has connections, friends in high places, people who owe him favors. If this goes to trial, things will get ugly. Evidence will be challenged. Witnesses will be discredited. Your past will be examined. Every mistake you've ever made will become public. Is that a threat? It's a reality check. Federal prosecutors win most cases, but not all cases. And this case has complications. Local politics, community support for the officers, sympathy for men who were just doing their jobs. They weren't doing their jobs. They were committing crimes. That's your interpretation. A jury might see it differently, especially a local jury, especially when the defense paints you as an outside agitator who set a trap for hardworking police officers. Maya stood up. Get out of my house. Ms. Reeves. Now, before I call those federal agents outside and have you removed. Martinez gathered her papers, stood, walked to the door, then turned back. You're making a mistake. This offer won't come again. And when you lose in court, when those officers walk free, you'll wish you'd taken the money. After she left, Denise collapsed on the couch. $2 million. Maya, that's blood money. That's what that is. Money to shut me up. Money to let them keep doing this to other families. But what if she's right? What if a jury sides with them? Then we appeal. Then we fight harder. But we don't quit. We don't take bribes to walk away from justice. That evening, Maya got another call. This time from Jennifer Johnson. Ms. Reeves, I just got a visit from that attorney, Martinez. She offered my family money too. Said if we don't testify, they'll pay us $50,000. What did you say? I told her to go to hell. My husband wanted to take it. We could really use $50,000. But I told him no, some things aren't for sale. Thank you. Your testimony matters. Don't let them buy your silence. They're scared. That's why they're throwing money around. They know they're going to lose. But that night, lying in bed, Maya wondered. What if Martinez was right? What if a jury looked at 6 white police officers and 1 black internal affairs agent and decided the officers were the victims? What if the defense convinced them that Maya had entrapped good men just doing their jobs? She'd seen it happen before. Cops getting off on technicalities. Juries refusing to convict. The system protecting its own. At 3 a.m., she was still awake when her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You should have taken the money. Last chance to walk away before someone gets hurt. She showed it to the federal agents in the morning. They traced it. Burner phone. Bought with cash. Untraceable. They're getting desperate, Agent Morrison said. He was the lead agent on her protection detail. Mid-40s. Former military. Took his job seriously. That's when they're most dangerous. You think they'll try something else? I think someone already painted your door. Someone's already making threats. Next step is usually violence. We need to increase security. Put agents inside the house, not just outside. No, I need my space, my privacy. Ms. Reeves, with respect, your privacy matters less than your life. He had a point, but Maya hated the thought of strangers in her house, watching her, listening to her, even if they were there to protect her. 2 days later, the warnings proved prophetic. Maya was in her backyard, pulling weeds, trying to feel normal. Denise was inside, making lunch. The agents were at their posts. A car pulled up to the curb. Gray sedan, not the federal agent's car. Someone else. Maya stood, watched, waited. A man got out. White, 50s, angry face. He walked straight toward her yard. You're Reeves, Guarmody, who's asking? Name's Patterson. I'm a sergeant with Maplewood PD. 32 years on the force. You're destroying good men's lives. Men with families. Men who dedicated their lives to serving this community. Men who violated civil rights. Men who harassed innocent families. Innocent, you set them up. You played victim. You trapped them into responding to legitimate complaints. There were no legitimate complaints. Every single one was false. You know it. They know it. Everyone knows it. Patterson stepped closer. Into her yard now, trespassing. You think your badge makes you better than us? You think internal affairs gives you the right to destroy careers? I think breaking the law has consequences, even for police officers. Those men have kids, mortgages, wives who depend on them. You're taking everything from them. They took everything from the families they drove out. Where was your sympathy then? The federal agents were moving now, coming across the street, hands near their weapons. "Sir, you need to leave," Agent Morrison called out. Patterson ignored him, kept his eyes on Maya. "This isn't over. You think you won? You didn't win anything. You started a war." "Sir, leave now or you'll be arrested," Morrison said. Patterson finally backed away, pointed at Maya. "You watch yourself. Accidents happen, even to people with federal protection." He got in his car, drove away. Morrison turned to Maya. "That was a direct threat. We're filing charges." "Don't bother. He's trying to provoke us, trying to make me look like the aggressor. Let it go." But inside, Maya was shaking, not from fear, from rage. These men thought they were untouchable, thought their badges and their brotherhood gave them permission to threaten anyone who challenged them. That afternoon, Maya got a call from the U.S. Attorney. "Williams, the lead prosecutor. We need to talk. Can you come to my office? Is something wrong? Just come. We'll discuss it here." Maya drove to the federal building. High security, metal detectors, agents everywhere. She was escorted to Williams' office. He was younger than she expected. Late 30s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. "Ms. Reeves, thank you for coming. We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The kind that could sink this case. One of our witnesses is backing out. Officer Quinn. Says he's been threatened. Says his family's been threatened. Says he can't testify." Maya's stomach dropped. "He's our strongest witness. He's the one who can testify to the conspiracy, to the coordination between Volkov and the officers." "I know. That's why we need him. I've offered him full witness protection, relocation, new identity, everything. He still says no. Let me talk to him." "I don't think that's a good idea, Mike." "Let me try. He trusted me once. Maybe he'll trust me again." Williams gave her Quinn's number. Maya called from the car. He didn't answer. She called again and again. Finally, he picked up. "Stop calling me. Quinn, it's Maya Reeves. We need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about. I'm not testifying. I'm done." "What happened? What changed?" Silence. Then, "Someone shot at my house last night, through my daughter's bedroom window. She's 8 years old. She was sleeping 10 feet from where the bullet came through." Maya closed her eyes. "Quinn, I'm so sorry." "Sorry doesn't cut it. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought telling the truth would protect my family. Instead, I put a target on them, so I'm out. Tell the prosecutors I'm out. Tell whoever you need to tell. I'm not doing this anymore. If you don't testify, they win. Volkov walks, Harkin walks, all of them walk, and the next family they target has no one to protect them. Then the next family will have to protect themselves, because I'm done sacrificing my family for strangers." He hung up. Maya sat in the parking garage, wanted to scream, wanted to cry, wanted to hit something. Quinn was right to be scared. Someone had shot at his house, at his daughter's bedroom. These people weren't just making threats anymore, they were following through. She called Williams back, told him about the shooting. "We'll investigate." Investigating doesn't help Quinn's daughter sleep at night. Investigating doesn't stop bullets. "What do you want me to do? I can't force him to testify. Without him, our case is weaker. Still strong, but weaker." "What about the other witnesses, the families? Still on board, but none of them can testify to the conspiracy the way Quinn could. He was inside. He heard the conversations. He saw the coordination. Without him, we're relying on circumstantial evidence and victim testimony." "That should be enough." "Should be, but juries are unpredictable, especially when the defendants are police officers, especially when the defense will argue that those officers were just responding to complaints in good faith." Maya drove home. Denise was waiting. Quinn backed out. "I heard. The news is already reporting it. They're calling it a major blow to the prosecution's case." "It is a major blow. So what do? We keep fighting. We find another way." But that night, lying in bed, Maya wondered what other way there was. Quinn had been their strongest witness. Without him, the case relied on her testimony, the other victim's testimony, and the circumstantial evidence of the pattern. Would that be enough? At 2 a.m., her phone buzzed. Text from Quinn. "I'm sorry. I know I'm letting you down. I know I'm letting everyone down, but I can't lose my daughter. I just can't." Maya typed back. "You're not letting anyone down. You're protecting your family. That's what fathers do." "They're going to win because I'm too scared to stand up to them." They're not going to win. I promise you that. But as she sent the message, she wondered if it was a promise she could keep. The next morning brought more bad news. Another witness backing out, then another, the Harrises, the Thompsons. Both families received threats. Both decided testimony wasn't worth their safety. Williams called, "We're down to you, the Johnsons and the Washingtons, plus the physical evidence and the recordings. It's still enough, but it's not the slam dunk it was a week ago." What's the defense doing? Circling the wagons. They've got a high-powered legal team. They're going after your credibility, claiming you're a rogue agent with a vendetta, claiming you manufactured evidence. They're even trying to suppress the recordings. On what grounds were two-party consent, arguing that you recorded conversations without permission? This is a one-party consent state. I know, we'll win that motion, but it shows they're fighting hard. They're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. That afternoon, Maya got a visitor. Mrs. Washington. The woman was in her 60s, gentle face, tired eyes. "Ms. Reeves, I need to tell you something. My husband wants us to back out. Says it's too dangerous, but I can't. I can't let those men get away with what they did to my family." Maya invited her in, made tea, listened. "We lived on this street for 8 months. 8 months of hell. Police coming constantly, neighbors avoiding us. Our son was 12. He started having panic attacks, couldn't go to school, couldn't sleep. We finally left because we thought it would get better somewhere else. It did. But he's 15 now and he still flinches when he sees police cars." "I'm sorry you went through that." "Don't be sorry, be angry. I'm angry. I'm furious that those men thought they could do that to us, that they thought we didn't matter because of our skin color. So I'm testifying. I don't care what my husband says. I don't care about the threats. Some things are more important than safety." "Mrs. Washington, if you were in danger..." "We're always in danger. Being black in America means being in danger. The question is whether we let that stop us from fighting back. I won't. I didn't survive segregation and Jim Crow to be scared off by some racist cops." After she left, Denise looked at Maya. She's brave. She's terrified. She's just more angry than scared. Like you. Like all of us. That evening, Maya sat on her porch, watched the street. The Volkov house was still dark, still empty, police tape still up, but his supporters were everywhere. Cars driving by slowly, people staring, whispers in the grocery store, cold looks at the gas station. The town was divided. Those who supported the police, those who supported Maya, those who just wanted the whole thing to go away. Agent Morrison sat on her porch steps. "You should go inside. Too exposed out here." "This is my porch, my house. I'm not hiding." Stubborn. Determined. Same thing? They sat in silence, watched the sunset. Then Morrison spoke again. "I grew up in a town like this, small, tight-knit. Everyone knows everyone. The police chief was my Little League coach. Half the force came into my graduation. Good people. Most of them. But there were a few who thought the badge gave them power over other people, thought they could decide who belonged and who didn't. What happened? Nothing. That's the problem. Everyone knew, everyone saw, no one spoke up. Because speaking up meant going against the community, against your friends, against your family. So the bad cops kept being bad, and the good cops looked the other way, and people got hurt. You think that's what happened here? I think it happens everywhere. Good people staying silent while bad people do bad things. That's how systems stay broken." Maya thought about that. About all the officers who responded to those fake complaints knowing they were fake. About all the neighbors who saw the harassment and said nothing. About all the supervisors who ignored the pattern because investigating it would be inconvenient. Everyone played a part. Everyone let it happen. The next day, the trial date was set. 3 months away. December 15th. Winter in Pennsylvania. Maya would spend the holidays preparing to testify, to relive 3 months of harassment in front of a jury, to be cross-examined by defense attorneys whose job was to make her look like a liar. She called Jennifer Johnson. "You ready for this?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway. My husband's still not happy. Says I'm putting us at risk, but I told him some risks are worth taking. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for yours. You started this. You gave us permission to fight back." After the call, Maya stood in her kitchen, looked around. This house had cost her so much. 3 months of fear, death threats, property damage, a federal case that consumed her life. But it had also given her something. Purpose. Proof that one person standing up could change things, could stop the pattern, could break the cycle. Was it worth it? She thought about the Johnsons, the Washingtons, the Harrises, the Thompsons. About Mrs. Chen and the Rodriguez family and all the people who'd been too scared to fight back until someone showed them it was possible. Yes, it was worth it. At midnight, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, then decided she wanted to know who was calling at this hour. Hello. Ms. Reeves, this is Sergeant Harkin. I know I'm not supposed to contact you. I know my lawyers would kill me if they knew I was making this call, but I need you to hear something. I'm listening. You destroyed my life. I've got 3 kids, a wife, a mortgage. I've been suspended without pay. My family's getting threats. People we thought were friends won't talk to us. My daughter's being bullied at school because her dad's a racist cop. Sergeant Harkin, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand what you did. I was just doing my job, following orders, responding to complaints, and now my entire life is destroyed because you decided to make an example of me. You weren't just doing your job. You were harassing innocent people. They were complaints, legitimate complaints called in by residents. They were fake complaints called in by one racist neighbor. You knew they were fake. You responded anyway, multiple times. That's not doing your job. That's participating in harassment. I had no choice. You always have a choice. You chose wrong. Now you're facing the consequences. Silence on the line. Then, you know what I hope you lose? I hope the jury sees through your act. I hope they see you for what you really are. And what's that? Someone who hates cops. Someone who wanted to take down good men just to make a name for yourself. I don't hate cops. I am a cop. I just hate corrupt cops. There's a difference. He hung up. Maya set the phone down. Her hands were shaking again, not from fear, from exhaustion, from the weight of carrying this fight alone while everyone else stood on the sidelines, judging. Denise appeared in the doorway. Who was that Harkin, trying to make me feel guilty? Did it work? Maya thought about that, about Harkin's kids, his wife, his family suffering because of his choices. No, he had chances to do the right thing. He chose wrong every time. That's on him, not me. You sure? I have to be. Because if I start doubting, if I start feeling guilty for holding bad cops accountable, then they win. Then the system stays broken. Then the next family has no protection. Denise hugged her. You're the strongest person I know, also the most stubborn. Runs in the family. They stayed up late, talking, remembering, sharing stories about Aunt Gloria, about growing up black in neighborhoods that didn't want them, about learning to be twice as good to get half as far, about the exhaustion of always having to prove you belonged. At 3 a.m., they finally went to bed. Maya lay in the darkness, thought about the trial, about testifying, about facing Harkin and Quinn and all the others in court, about telling her story to a jury that might not believe her. But she'd come this far, survived 3 months of harassment, exposed an entire department's corruption, built a federal case from nothing. She could survive a trial. She had to, because the alternative was letting them win, letting the pattern continue, letting the next family suffer what she'd suffered. And Maya Reeves didn't lose. Not now, not ever. Outside, the federal agents changed shifts. New car, new agents, same mission. Keep her safe until trial. Maya closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new threats, new battles, but tonight she could rest. She'd earned it. The rest didn't last. 3 weeks before trial, Maya's car wouldn't start. She called a mechanic. He found sugar in the gas tank. $1,500 in damage. 2 weeks before trial, someone broke into her mailbox, stole her mail, personal documents, bank statements, medical records, everything. 1 week before trial, Denise's car was keyed in the grocery store parking lot. Deep scratches, both sides. A message carved into the hood, "Go home." They're not even pretending anymore, Denise said. She was crying. Angry crying. They want us scared. They want us to quit. Then they don't know us very well. But Maya was scared. She'd never admit it to Denise. Never admit it to the federal agents, or the prosecutors, or anyone else. But at night alone in her room, she was terrified. What if they lost? What if the jury looked at 6 police officers and decided they were the real victims? What if all of this was for nothing? 5 days before trial, Williams called. We have a problem, a big one. What now? Judge Harrison just recused himself, says he knows Lieutenant Volkov personally, can't be impartial, we're getting a new judge. Judge Margaret Chen. No relation to your neighbor or the officer. But here's the thing, she's known as a law and order judge, very pro-police, very skeptical of civil rights claims. The defense is celebrating. Can we appeal? On what grounds? She hasn't done anything wrong yet. We just have to hope she's fair. Hope. Maya was getting real tired of hope. 3 days before trial, Maya met with Williams to prepare. He drilled her for 6 hours, asked every question the defense would ask, pushed every button they'd push. They're going to make you look like an activist with an agenda, someone who hates police, someone who set a trap because you wanted to take down cops. I am a cop. You're internal affairs. To them, that's worse than not being a cop at all. You're a traitor, someone who goes after their own. I go after corrupt cops. There's a difference. Make sure the jury understands that difference, because the defense will blur that line every chance they get. 2 days before trial, Maya couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, paced her house until Denise physically made her sit down. You're going to make yourself sick. I'm already sick of this, sick of waiting, sick of being scared in my own house. Then let's not be scared. Let's be angry. Anger is better than fear. Maya looked at her sister. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just never listened. They laughed. First real laugh in weeks. It felt good. Felt normal. Felt like maybe everything would be okay. Then the doorbell rang. Maya checked the camera. Officer Quinn. Alone? No uniform. Just jeans and a jacket. She opened the door. Quinn, what are you doing here? I need to talk to you, please, 5 minutes. She let him in. Denise stood in the hallway, protective, ready to throw him out if needed. Quinn sat on the edge of the couch, looked at his hands. I've been thinking about what you said, about how they win if I don't testify, about the next family, about my daughter growing up in a world where cops like Volkov get away with this. Quinn, let me finish, please. I've been thinking about what kind of man I want to be, what kind of example I want to set for my kids, and I realized something. If I don't stand up now, if I let fear stop me, I'm teaching them that it's okay to be a coward, that it's okay to let bad people win because fighting back is too hard. What are you saying? I'm saying I'll testify. I'll tell them everything. Everything I saw. Everything I heard. Everything Volkov and Harkin said. All of it. Maya felt something break loose in her chest. Relief. Hope. Something close to joy. What changed your mind? My daughter, she asked me why we're moving. Why we have to leave our house and our school and our friends. I told her it's because Daddy made some bad people angry, and she asked me if the bad people were going to jail. I said I didn't know, and she said, Daddy, if you know they did bad things, why aren't you telling the judge? And I didn't have a good answer for that. Quinn, if you testify, the threats will get worse. I know, that's why I already moved my family. My wife's parents live in Ohio. We're staying there until after the trial. The kids are enrolled in new schools. We're safe. So I can do this. I can tell the truth. After he left, Maya called Williams. Quinn's back in. He's testifying. Are you serious? Dead serious. He'll be there. He'll tell them everything. Williams exhaled slowly. That changes everything. With Quinn's testimony, we have them. We can prove the conspiracy, prove the coordination, prove all of it. How's the defense going to react? Poorly. They built their entire strategy around Quinn being too scared to show up. Now they'll have to scramble. Good. Let them scramble. So, the night before trial, Maya couldn't sleep at all. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about tomorrow, about walking into that courtroom, about facing Harkin and Volkov and all the others, about telling her story to 12 strangers who'd decide if her 3 months of hell mattered. At 5 a.m., she gave up on sleep, made coffee, sat at her kitchen table, watched the sun rise. Denise found her there an hour later. You ready? No, but I'm going anyway. They drove to the courthouse together. The federal building was massive, stone and glass, American flags everywhere, security like an airport, news crews lined the steps, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing. Maya kept her head down, said nothing. Let the prosecutors do the talking. Inside the courtroom was packed. Maya sat at the prosecution table, Williams on one side, 2 other attorneys on the other. Behind her, the gallery was full. Mrs. Chen, the Rodriguez family, Jennifer Johnson and her husband, Mrs. Washington, other families, other victims, all there to support her. On the other side of the room, the defendants sat with their lawyers. Harkin. Quinn, wait, no? Quinn was testifying for the prosecution now. 5 other officers, all in suits, all looking confident. Behind them, their families, their supporters, people holding signs. Back the blue. Support our officers. Stop the witch hunt. The bailiff stood. All rise. the Honorable Judge Margaret Chen presiding. Judge Chen entered. Asian American, late 50s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense expression. She sat. Everyone else sat. Good morning. We're here for the trial of the United States versus Harkin Volkov and others. Is the prosecution ready? Williams stood. Ready, Your Honor? Is the defense ready? A man stood from the defense table. Late 60s, gray hair, expensive suit. Ready, Your Honor? Thomas Blackwell for the defense. Blackwell. Maya knew that name. One of the best defense attorneys in the state. Specialized in defending cops. Had a reputation for destroying witnesses on cross-examination. This was going to be hard. Judge Chen looked at the jury box. Let's begin jury selection. It took 2 days to seat a jury. 12 people, 8 white, 2 black, 1 Hispanic, 1 Asian, 7 men, 5 women, most of them older, most of them local. Maya watched them, tried to read their faces, tried to guess who'd believe her and who wouldn't. Williams leaned over. Don't overthink it. We just need to tell the truth. The evidence will do the rest. On day 3, opening statements began. Williams stood, walked to the jury box, made eye contact with each juror. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about power, about what happens when people with badges use those badges to hurt people instead of protect them. The evidence will show that the defendants engaged in a systematic campaign of harassment against black families who moved into their neighborhood. They filed false police reports. They responded to fake complaints. They coordinated with a civilian to drive innocent people from their homes. They violated the civil rights of American citizens. And they did it because they believed their badges made them untouchable. Williams spoke for 20 minutes, laid out the case, the pattern, the evidence, the witnesses. When he finished, the jury looked serious, thoughtful, maybe even convinced. Then Blackwell stood. He was good. Maya could see it immediately. The way he moved, the way he spoke. Confident but not arrogant, folksy but not fake. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution wants you to believe that 6 dedicated police officers conspired to drive families from their homes. But the evidence will show something very different. It will show that these officers were simply doing their jobs, responding to complaints from concerned citizens, following protocols, enforcing the law. Yes, Ms. Reeves experienced police visits, but those visits were the result of legitimate complaints from concerned neighbors. The fact that those complaints turned out to be unfounded doesn't make the officers who responded criminals. It makes them professionals doing their difficult job in a difficult situation. He spoke about each officer, their years of service, their families, their commendations, made them sound like heroes instead of criminals. When he sat down, Maya felt sick. He was good. Too good. The prosecution called its first witness. Jennifer Johnson. She took the stand, raised her right hand, swore to tell the truth. Williams asked her to describe what happened when her family moved to Maple Street. It started the first week. Police came to our door, said there was a noise complaint, but we weren't making noise. Our kids were at school. My husband was at work. I was home alone reading. There was no noise. What happened next? They came back 3 days later, different complaint, said our dog was bothering neighbors. We don't have a dog, never have, but they came anyway. How many times did police come to your home? 17 times in 6 months. Different reasons every time. Parking, trespassing, noise, dogs, all fake, all lies. How did this affect your family? Jennifer's voice broke. My son stopped sleeping. He was 11. He'd hear a car outside and panic thinking it was the police again. He started having nightmares. We finally left because we couldn't watch him suffer anymore. Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. No further questions. Blackwell stood for cross-examination. Mrs. Johnson, you said the complaints were fake, but you don't actually know who called them in, do you? No, but. And you don't know if the officers responding believed the complaints were legitimate, do you? They kept coming even after they saw. Please answer the question. Do you know what the officers believed? No. So it's possible they genuinely thought they were responding to legitimate complaints. I suppose. Thank you. No further questions. Jennifer left the stand looking defeated. Maya's heart sank. Blackwell had made her testimony seem weak, uncertain, exactly what he wanted. The prosecution called more witnesses. Mrs. Washington, Mr. Harris. Each told similar stories. Each got cross-examined the same way. By the time they were finished, Maya wasn't sure the jury believed any of them. Then Williams called Maya to the stand. She walked up, hand on the Bible. "I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." She sat, looked at the jury, made eye contact, let them see her. Really see her. Williams asked her to describe her experience. Maya told them everything: the fake complaints, the harassment, the vandalism, the threats. She spoke clearly, calmly, let the facts speak for themselves. "Ms. Reeves, why did you move to Maple Street?" "I was investigating complaints of racial harassment by the Maplewood Police Department. Multiple families had reported a pattern of false complaints and intimidation. I volunteered to move to the neighborhood to document the pattern." "And what did you document?" 16 false complaints in 12 weeks. Multiple acts of vandalism, threatening letters, a coordinated effort between a civilian Eugene Volkov and multiple police officers, including his brother, Lieutenant Marcus Volkov. "How do you know it was coordinated?" "I recorded a conversation between the Volkov brothers in which they explicitly discussed using police resources to harass me into leaving." Williams played the recording. The courtroom was silent. You could hear every word. Eugene telling Marcus to keep sending officers. Marcus agreeing. Both of them laughing about making Maya uncomfortable. When it finished, the jury looked angry. Good. They should be angry. No further questions. Then Blackwell stood. Maya braced herself. "Ms. Reeves, your internal affairs, correct?" "Yes." "And internal affairs investigates police officers." "We investigate complaints against police officers, yes." "Would you say you have a bias against police officers?" "No, I am a police officer." "But your job is to find fault with officers, to build cases against them, to end their careers." "My job is to ensure accountability, to protect the public from corrupt officers." "Corrupt? That's an interesting word. Would you say you assume officers are corrupt until proven otherwise?" "No, I assume officers are professional until evidence proves otherwise." "But you moved to Maple Street assuming the officers were corrupt, didn't you? You assumed the complaints were part of a racist conspiracy before you had any evidence." "I had multiple families reporting the same pattern, but you didn't investigate those claims first. You didn't interview the officers. You didn't review the actual complaints. You just assumed that they were guilty and set a trap to prove it." "That's not what happened." "Isn't it? You bought a house specifically to provoke a response. You documented every police contact as if it were proof of harassment. You recorded private conversations without disclosing that you were law enforcement. You acted as an agent provocateur, didn't you? I acted as a homeowner documenting harassment. A homeowner who happened to be a trained investigator with a recording device and a vendetta against the local police." Williams objected. Judge Chen sustained it, but the damage was done. Blackwell had planted the seed, made it look like Maya was the aggressor. He continued for another hour, picking apart every detail, every decision, every action Maya had taken. By the time he finished, Maya felt exhausted, beaten, exposed. No further questions. Maya left the stand, sat at the prosecution table. Williams squeezed her shoulder. "You did great." He tried to rattle you. You stayed calm. The jury saw that. But Maya wasn't sure. Blackwell was too good, too persuasive. He'd made her look like she had an agenda, like she'd manufactured the entire case. The next witness was Officer Quinn. He took the stand, looked terrified, but determined. Williams asked him to describe what happened. "Lieutenant Volkov called me into his office about 3 months after Ms. Reeves moved in. He said we needed to maintain the character of the neighborhood, said Ms. Reeves was causing problems, said we needed to respond to every complaint about her no matter how minor." "Did he say why?" "He said if we made her uncomfortable enough, she'd leave, like the others." "The others?" "The other black families, the Johnsons, the Washingtons, the Harrises, the Thompsons. He mentioned them by name, said they'd all left after consistent police presence." The courtroom was silent. "What did you do?" "I followed orders. I responded to the complaints. I knew they were fake, we all knew, but we went anyway because Volkov told us to." "Did Sergeant Harkin know the complaints were false?" "Yes, he made jokes about it, called it community policing, said we were protecting property values." "Thank you, Officer Quinn. No further questions." Blackwell stood. He looked angry now. Quinn had just destroyed their defense. "Officer Quinn, you're testifying in exchange for immunity, correct?" "Yes." "So you have every reason to lie, to tell this jury what the prosecution wants to hear so you can avoid prison." I'm not lying. Isn't it true that you're facing serious financial problems, that you're behind on your mortgage, that you'd say anything to avoid losing your house? That's not why I'm here. Isn't it true that Ms. Reeves threatened you, told you that if you didn't testify, you'd be charged as a participant? She told me I had a choice. A choice between testifying against your fellow officers or going to prison? That's not a choice. That's coercion. Williams objected. Judge Chen sustained it, but again Blackwell had made his point, made Quinn look like he was lying to save himself. The trial continued for 2 more weeks. More witnesses, more evidence, more cross-examinations. The defense called character witnesses for each officer, fellow cops who testified about their professionalism, neighbors who said they were good men, family members who cried on the stand. It was exhausting. Brutal. Maya went home each night feeling like she'd been beaten. Denise tried to keep her spirits up, made her eat, made her sleep, made her keep going. Mrs. Chen came by with food. The Rodriguez family sent flowers. Jennifer Johnson called every other day to check in. The support helped. But Maya still felt alone, like she was carrying the weight of everyone's hopes and everyone's pain. Finally, closing arguments. Williams spoke first. Summarized the evidence, the pattern, the recordings, Quinn's testimony, the clear coordination between Volkov and the officers. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is overwhelming. These officers violated the civil rights of multiple families. They used their badges as weapons. They turned the law enforcement into a tool of discrimination. The law is clear. The facts are clear. Your verdict should be clear. Guilty. Then Blackwell stood. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution wants you to convict 6 men who've dedicated their lives to serving this community, but the evidence doesn't support that. Yes, police responded to complaints about Ms. Reeves, but responding to complaints is their job. The prosecution hasn't proven that these officers knew the complaints were false. They haven't proven coordination. They haven't proven intent. What they've proven is that Ms. Reeves set a trap and these officers fell into it. That's not criminal. That's entrapment. I ask you to find these men not guilty. The jury deliberated for 3 days. 3 days of waiting. 3 days of Maya pacing her house. 3 days of checking her phone every 5 minutes. 3 days of not eating, not sleeping, barely breathing. On the 3rd day, her phone rang. Williams. We have a verdict. Get to the courthouse. Maya and Denise drove in silence. The courthouse was packed again. News crews everywhere. Protesters on both sides. Some supporting the police. Some supporting Maya. They filed into the courtroom. Everyone stood as Judge Chen entered. Has the jury reached a verdict? The jury foreman stood. White man, 60s, serious face. We have your honor. On the charge of conspiracy to violate civil rights, how do you find the defendants? Guilty. Maya's knees almost gave out. Denise grabbed her arm, held her up. On the charge of deprivation of rights under color of law, how do you find the defendants? Guilty. Behind her, Jennifer Johnson was crying. Mrs. Washington was hugging her husband. Mrs. Chen was smiling. On the other side of the room, the defendant sat in shock. Harkin's face was white. Marcus Volkov was staring at the table. Their families were crying. Judge Chen thanked the jury. Set a sentencing date for 6 weeks later. Dismissed everyone. Outside, reporters swarmed. Maya said nothing, just walked to her car. Got in, drove home in silence. When they got there, she sat in the driveway. Couldn't move. Couldn't process what had just happened. They'd won. After 3 months of harassment. After death threats and vandalism and fear. After testimony and cross-examination and doubt. They'd won. Denise was crying. Happy crying. You did it! Maya, you did it! Maya started crying too. Couldn't help it. Months of tension releasing all at once. That night, her phone didn't stop ringing. Williams calling to congratulate her. Her supervisor calling to praise her work. Jennifer Johnson calling to thank her. Mrs. Washington calling to celebrate. Officer Quinn calling to say his family was safe and he was grateful. At midnight, Maya sat on her porch. Looked up and down Maple Street. The Volkov house was dark. Would probably stay dark. Someone else would buy it. Someone else would live there. Hopefully someone who understood that neighborhoods belonged to everyone. Mrs. Chen's light was on. The Rodriguez family was having a late dinner on their porch. Everything looked peaceful. Normal. Safe. This is what it should have been from the beginning. Agent Morrison walked up. Congratulations, you earned this. We all earned this. Everyone who testified, everyone who stood up. Most people don't stand up. Most people take the easy way. You didn't. That matters. After he left, Maya closed her eyes. Let herself feel it, the relief, the victory, the knowledge that she'd broken the pattern, that the next black family who moved to this street wouldn't face what she'd faced, wouldn't be driven out, wouldn't be alone. 6 weeks later, sentencing day arrived. Judge Chen looked at each defendant. The evidence in this case was overwhelming. You violated the civil rights of multiple families. You used your positions of authority to perpetrate discrimination. You betrayed the oath you took to serve and protect all citizens. The sentences I'm about to impose reflect the seriousness of your crimes. Harkin, 12 years, federal prison. Marcus Volkov, 15 years. The other officers, 8 to 10 years each. Their families sobbed. Their lawyers promised appeals. But Maya knew those appeals would fail. The evidence was too strong. The verdict was too clear. Eugene Volkov was sentenced separately. State charges, 5 years, plus restitution to every family he'd targeted. Outside the courthouse, Maya finally spoke to reporters. This verdict sends a message. No one is above the law, not police officers, not their friends, not anyone who thinks they can use power to hurt people. The system worked. Justice was served. And I hope this gives courage to everyone who's been told they don't belong. You do belong. This is your country, your community, your home. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. That night, Maya had dinner at her house. Denise cooked. Mrs. Chen brought dumplings. The Rodriguez family brought tamales. Jennifer Johnson and her family drove up from their new town. Mrs. Washington came with her husband and son. They filled Maya's house with laughter and food and hope. They celebrated not just the verdict, but survival, resistance, victory. As the party wound down, Maya stepped outside, looked at her house, her street, her home. She'd paid a price for this. 3 months of fear. Ongoing threats even now. Knowing that some people would always see her as the villain instead of the hero. But she'd do it again, without hesitation, because some things were worth the cost. Justice was worth it. Equality was worth it. Making sure the next family didn't suffer, that was worth everything. Maya smiled, went back inside, joined her friends, her family, her community. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight they'd won, and that was enough. The celebration ended near midnight. Everyone hugged goodbye, made promises to stay in touch, to never forget what they'd accomplished together. Maya stood on her porch watching the last car drive away. Mrs. Chen's light went off. The street fell quiet, peaceful. Denise came outside. You okay? Yeah, just thinking. About what? About what comes next. Next, Maya, you just won. You can rest now. You can just live your life. Can I, though? Denise knew that look, that tone. What did you do? Nothing yet, but I got a call yesterday from the Department of Justice. And they want to meet, said they have something to discuss, something important. When? Tomorrow, Washington, D.C.? They're flying me down. Denise grabbed her sister's arm. Maya, you've done enough. You've given enough. Let someone else carry this fight. What if there is no one else? They stood in silence. Then Denise sighed. You're going to go anyway, aren't you? I have to know what they want. I'm coming with you. Denise? Not arguing. I'm coming. The next morning they flew to Washington. A car met them at the airport, drove them to the Department of Justice building. Security everywhere. Badges, guns. Stone-faced agents who looked like they could stop a truck with their bare hands. They were escorted to a conference room on the 7th floor. Large table, leather chairs, American flags in the corners. 3 people waiting. Director Patricia Chen, Maya's supervisor. She smiled when they entered. Next to her, a man in his 60s. Distinguished, gray suit, sharp eyes. Ms. Reeves, I'm Deputy Attorney General Marcus Reed. Thank you for coming. The third person was a woman, 40s, black, confident. Special Agent Sarah Williams, FBI Civil Rights Division. Everyone shook hands, sat down. Reed opened a folder. Ms. Reeves, the work you did in Maplewood was extraordinary. You exposed systematic corruption, brought justice to multiple families, set a precedent that will impact civil rights cases nationwide. Thank you, sir. But we didn't bring you here to congratulate you. We brought you here because Maplewood wasn't isolated. Maya's stomach dropped. What do you mean? Special Agent Williams pulled out a document, slid it across the table. These are 19 addresses, 19 different locations across 7 counties, all showing the same pattern you documented, black families moving into predominantly white neighborhoods, false police complaints, harassment, vandalism. Families driven out within 6 to 18 months. Maya picked up the list, scanned the addresses. Her hands started shaking. 19 families. That we know of. There are likely more. We've been investigating for months. Your case broke it open, gave us the framework to identify the pattern elsewhere. Reed leaned forward. These aren't random incidents. This is organized, coordinated. We believe there's a network. People sharing tactics. Police departments looking the other way. In some cases, actively participating. How is that possible? Online forums, private groups, people who believe they're protecting their neighborhoods from what they call demographic change. They share strategies, celebrate successes, encourage others to do the same. Denise spoke up. Are you saying this is happening all over the country? Not all over, but in enough places to be a serious problem, and it's getting worse, more organized, more sophisticated. Maya set the paper down. Why are you telling me this? Because we want you to help us stop it. We're forming a federal task force, multi-agency, FBI DOJ HUD Civil Rights Division. Our mission is to identify these networks, document the patterns, prosecute the perpetrators. We need someone who understands how this works, someone who's lived it, someone who won't back down. You want me to lead this task force? We do, full federal authority, resources, support, a team of agents and attorneys. You'd report directly to me. Your job would be to do what you did in Maplewood, but on a national scale. Maya looked at Denise. Her sister's face was a mix of pride and terror. Can I think about it? Of course, but we need an answer soon. These families are suffering now. Every day we wait, more people are driven from their homes. The meeting lasted 2 more hours. They showed her evidence from the other locations. Photos, recordings, police reports that matched exactly what Maya had experienced. The same playbook, the same lies, the same systematic harassment. By the time they left, Maya felt sick, angry, exhausted. In the car back to the airport, Denise was quiet. Finally, she spoke. You're going to say yes. I don't know. Yes, you do. You're going to say yes because you can't walk away from this. Because 19 families need help. Because someone has to stop it. I'm so tired, Denise. I'm so damn tired. I know, but you're also the only person who can do this. The only person who's proven it can be done. They flew home in silence. Maya stared out the window. Thought about those 19 families. Thought about the children having panic attacks. The parents losing sleep. The constant fear of every knock on the door. She thought about Aunt Gloria. About dying alone in a house that should have been a home. About giving up because fighting was too hard. She thought about the Johnsons and the Washingtons and all the others who'd suffered because no one stopped the pattern. When they landed, Maya's phone rang. Unknown number, she almost didn't answer, then decided she wanted to know who was calling. Ms. Reeves, this is Angela Martinez. You don't know me. I live in Chester County, about 60 miles from you. I just moved into a new house 3 weeks ago. Today, police came to my door. Noise complaint. But I wasn't making noise. I was just sitting in my living room reading, and I remembered seeing you on the news, and I thought maybe you could help me. Maya closed her eyes. Tell me everything. Angela talked for 20 minutes. Same story. Same pattern. Same playbook. What should I do? Angela's voice was shaking. Should I leave? Should I just sell and go somewhere else? No, you stay. You document everything, and you call this number. Maya gave her the DOJ hotline Williams had provided. Tell them I referred you. They'll help. They'll protect you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I thought I was alone. I thought no one would believe me. You're not alone. Not anymore. After she hung up, Maya looked at Denise. I have to do this. I know. It means more time away from home. More danger. More fights. I know that too. Will you be okay if I take this job? Denise hugged her. I'll be fine. More importantly, will you... I don't know, but I have to try. That night, Maya called Director Chen. I'll do it. I'll lead the task force. You're sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. When can you start? Give me 2 weeks. I need to settle things here. Make sure my house is secure. Make sure my neighbors are safe. 2 weeks. Then we'll get you set up. Office space, team, everything you need. After the call, Maya walked through her house. This place had been a battlefield. Now it was just home. But home would have to wait. There was work to do. The next morning, Maya knocked on Mrs. Chen's door. The elderly woman answered with a smile. Maya, come in. I'll make tea. I can't stay long. I need to tell you something. They sat in Mrs. Chen's kitchen, the same kitchen where she'd first warned Maya about the pattern, about the families who'd left. I'm taking a new job, federal task force. I'll be traveling, investigating cases like mine in other places. Mrs. Chen's eyes filled with tears. You're leaving. Not permanently. This is still my home. I'll come back between assignments, but I won't be here as much. You're going to help other families, like you helped us. I'm going to try. Mrs. Chen grabbed her hand. You're the bravest person I've ever met, also the most stubborn, but that's good. The world needs stubborn people who won't quit. They hugged. Maya promised to stay in touch. Promised to keep her house, promised to come back. She had similar conversations with the Rodriguez family, with Jennifer Johnson on the phone, with Mrs. Washington. Everyone understood. Everyone supported her. Everyone was proud. Officer Quinn called too. I heard about the task force. You're really doing this. I am. Good. Those families need someone like you. Someone who won't back down. Quinn, what are you going to do now that this is over? My wife and I are moving to Ohio permanently. Away from here. Away from the memories. I'm applying to work in schools. Security. Maybe I can do some good there. Make up for what I did here. You already made up for it. You testified. You told the truth. It doesn't feel like enough. It never does, but it's something. That matters. 2 weeks later, Maya drove to Washington, this time alone. Denise had to work, had her own life to live. Maya understood. The task force office was in a federal building near the Capitol. 10th floor, large space, computers, files, maps on the walls showing the 19 locations. Her team was waiting. 6 FBI agents, 4 DOJ attorneys, 2 investigators from HUD, all of them experienced, all of them dedicated, all of them ready to work. Special Agent Williams introduced everyone, then she pointed to the map. These are our priority cases. Chester County, that's Angela Martinez. Police have been to her house 3 times in 2 weeks. We need to move fast. What's the plan? Same as Maplewood. Document everything, record everything, build the case. But this time we're not waiting months. We're moving faster, harder. We're going to crush these networks before they can adapt. Maya looked at the faces around the table, young, determined, angry at injustice, ready to fight. Then let's get started. The next 6 months were a blur. Maya traveled to Chester County, documented the harassment Angela Martinez faced, installed cameras, recorded conversations, built the case. While she worked that case, her team was building others, each agent taking a different location, each attorney preparing charges, each investigator following the money, the connections, the networks. They found the online forums, private groups with thousands of members, people sharing tactics, celebrating when families left, encouraging others to be more aggressive. We need to shut these down, one of the attorneys said. Can't, Williams replied. First Amendment, they're allowed to talk, even if what they're saying is vile. We can only act when they cross the line into criminal behavior. Then we make sure we catch them when they cross that line. In Chester County, it took 6 weeks to build the case. Then federal prosecutors moved. Arrested 3 police officers. Charged 2 civilians. Angela Martinez stayed in her house. Safe. Protected. Grateful. You saved my home, she told Maya. You saved my family. You saved yourself. You documented everything. You didn't run. That took courage. I learned from you, from watching you on the news. If you could stand up to them, so could I. Other cases followed. Montgomery County, Westchester County, Orange County. Each one the same pattern. Each one broken by documentation evidence prosecution. But it was exhausting. Maya lived out of hotels, ate fast food, slept 4 hours a night, rarely saw her house, rarely saw Denise. 8 months into the job, she crashed. Not physically, emotionally. She was in a hotel room in North Carolina building another case when she just couldn't do it anymore, couldn't look at another police report, couldn't interview another scared family, couldn't fight another corrupt cop. She called Denise at 2 a.m. I can't do this. I thought I could, but I can't. Come home. I have a case. Someone else can handle it. You come home. Now. Maya flew home the next day. Denise picked her up at the airport, drove her home, made her sleep for 16 hours straight. When Maya woke up, Mrs. Chen was in her kitchen making soup. The Rodriguez family had left flowers on her porch. There were cards from Jennifer Johnson. Mrs. Washington, Angela Martinez, and a dozen other families she'd helped. "You're not alone," Denise said. "You never were. You just forgot that." Maya took 2 weeks off, slept, ate real food, walked around her neighborhood, remembered why she was fighting. On her last night home, she sat on her porch. The street was quiet, peaceful. A new family had bought the Volkov house. Black family, young couple with twins. They'd been there 3 months. No police visits, no harassment, no problems. That's what victory looked like. Not headlines or convictions. Just families living in peace, Mrs. Chen came over with tea. "You're going back." "I have to." "I know, but promise me something. Promise you'll take care of yourself. You can't help anyone if you destroy yourself." "I promise." "And promise you'll come home. This is your home. These are your people. Don't forget that." "I won't." When Maya returned to Washington, she called a team meeting. "We've been reacting, responding to cases as they come in. We need to shift. We need to go on offense." "What do you mean?" Williams asked. "These networks communicate online. They share tactics. We need to infiltrate them, document them, prove the coordination. Then we can go after not just individual cases, but the entire network." One of the FBI agents nodded. "That's a major operation. Will take months, maybe years." "Then we start now." They did. Created fake accounts, infiltrated the forums, documented conversations, identified leaders, mapped the networks. What they found was worse than they expected. Thousands of people. Some just talking. Others actively harassing families. A few coordinating across state lines. Sharing resources. Funding legal defenses for arrested members. "This is bigger than we thought," Williams said. "Then we get more resources, more people, more authority." Reed approved it, doubled the team, tripled the budget, gave Maya everything she needed. 2 years into the task force, they'd prosecuted 47 cases, convicted over 100 people, disbanded 3 major networks, recovered millions in restitution for affected families. But the work wasn't done. New networks kept forming. New tactics kept emerging. The fight continued. On the 2nd anniversary of the Maplewood verdict, Maya went home. There was a ceremony. The city renamed the street, called it Justice Way, put up a plaque commemorating the families who'd fought back. Maya stood at the podium, looked at the crowd, saw Mrs. Chen, the Rodriguez family, Jennifer Johnson and her husband, Mrs. Washington, Angela Martinez, Quinn and his family visiting from Ohio, dozens of other families the task force had helped. 2 years ago, I answered my door and found 3 police officers. I didn't know it then, but that moment would change my life. Would change all our lives, because that moment proved something important. It proved that one person standing up can break a pattern, can stop injustice, can create change. She paused, looked at all the faces. "But I didn't do this alone. Mrs. Chen warned me about the danger. The Rodriguez family supported me. The Johnsons and the Washingtons and the Harrises and the Thompsons, they testified even when they were scared. Officer Quinn told the truth even when it cost him everything. Every person here played a part. Every person here is a hero. We won in Maplewood. We've won in dozens of other places, but the fight isn't over. There are still families being harassed, still communities being targeted, still people who believe they can use power to hurt others. So we keep fighting. We keep standing up. We keep breaking patterns, because that's what justice requires. That's what America requires." The crowd applauded. Maya stepped down. People wanted to talk, to thank her, to share their stories. A young woman approached, mid-20s, nervous. "Ms. Reeves, I'm Keisha Thomas. I just moved to a house in Fairfax County. Police came yesterday, noise complaint, but I wasn't making noise, and I remembered your case. I remembered what you did, and I thought maybe I could do it too." Maya smiled. "You can. Document everything. Call the DOJ hotline. We'll help you." "Will you come? Will you investigate my case?" "I'll send one of my best agents, and I'll make sure you're protected. You're not alone, Keisha. Not anymore." After the ceremony, Maya drove to the cemetery, found Aunt Gloria's grave, sat down beside it. "I did it, Auntie. I stopped them. Not just here. Everywhere I can. I know you wanted to fight back. I know you were scared. I was scared too. But I fought anyway. For you. For everyone like you. For everyone who was told they didn't belong." The wind picked up, rustled the leaves. Maya closed her eyes. Let herself feel everything. The exhaustion, the pride, the grief, the hope. When she opened them, Denise was walking toward her. "Figured I'd find you here." How'd you know? Because I know you, because Aunt Gloria's the reason you fight, the reason you won't quit. They sat together in silence. Then Denise spoke. You're going back to Washington tomorrow. New case, Texas, family being harassed, local police won't help, we're stepping in. You ever think about quitting, about just coming home and living a normal life? Maya thought about that, about sleeping in her own bed, about having dinner with Mrs. Chen, about watching the Rodriguez kids grow up, about peace. Every day. But then I get a call, another family, another person being told they don't belong, and I remember that this is my purpose, this is what I'm supposed to do, even if it cost you everything. Even then. They stood, walked back to the car, drove home together. That night Maya packed for Texas, checked her equipment, called her team, made sure everything was ready. At midnight she stood on her porch one last time, looked up and down Justice Way, the street she'd fought for, the street that proved patterns could be broken. Her phone buzzed, text from Williams. Texas family situation escalating, need you there ASAP, flight leaves at 6 a.m. Maya texted back, I'll be there. She went inside, set her alarm, lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow another fight, another family, another chance to break the pattern. She was ready, she'd always be ready, because Maya Reeves didn't quit, didn't run, didn't back down. She fought, for families who couldn't fight alone, for justice that didn't always come easy, for the simple idea that everyone deserved to live in peace in their own home. That was worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for, worth everything. Outside the street was quiet. Mrs. Chen's light went off. The Rodriguez kids' bikes sat on the lawn. The new family in the Volkov house had their porch light on. Welcome, safe, home. This is what she fought for, this moment, this peace, this simple act of families living without fear. The pattern was broken here, but there were other patterns, other streets, other families waiting for someone to stand up. Maya closed her eyes, smiled in the darkness. Tomorrow she'd stand up again, and the next day, and the day after that, for as long as it took, for however many families needed help. Because that's what heroes do. They keep fighting even when they're tired, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. They fight because someone has to, because justice demands it, because love requires it. And Maya Reeves was done letting fear win, done letting power go unchecked, done letting families suffer alone. She was a warrior now, a champion, a force for justice in a world that desperately needed it. And she was just getting started. The sun would rise in a few hours. She'd catch her flight to Texas, meet another scared family, start building another case, break another pattern, save another home, one family at a time, one case at a time, one victory at a time, until every family was safe, until every home was truly home, until the pattern was broken everywhere. That was the mission. That was the promise. That was Maya Reeves. And nothing would stop her. Not fear, not threats, not exhaustion, nothing. Because some fights are worth everything. And this fight was worth her life. She'd give it gladly, every day, every case, every victory, for justice, for equality, for home, always.